Hello again, listener, and now watchers.
Hello, watchers.
Things are changing.
Modern technology.
So here's the plan for today, folks. We are going to catch you guys up to speed with some of the stuff that we've been working on behind the scenes. And probably the first and most apparent addition / change is that you can see us now. Some of you can see us.
Lucas' air quote game is just it's going to take off.
Just be ready for my air quotes. Yeah, we're going to reference a lot of stuff that are going to make our podcast listeners very sad that they're not watching the video.
Yeah.
So then they're going to have to start watching the video.
Deal.
And then we take over the world. But we just decided, what was the inspiration behind adding a video component? Because we're awesome and devilishly handsome?
Well, that's obviously part of it, but I've been building my own personal brand on my website for better part of a year now, and I decided that after doing a lot of reading about social media and learning and figuring out what I'm doing, I decided that I need to reach a younger audience. And the podcast audience is probably the college and above audience.
Mm.
And, people that drive to work, they commute, they can, maybe they grew up with radio a little more. But the high school
Old-timey radio.
High school kids, junior high kids, they're a video generation. They Snapchat, they Instagram, and they YouTube. So I decided I would take my podcast and kind of chop it up and do video segments so it would be available to another group, so to the younger crowd. And then in all of that, I've just gone down the rabbit hole, and we're implementing a large social media strategy for Warbird Academy and the Senators. So it's just this has just been evolution of all of it. We want to do a much better job than we have creating an online community around Warbird.
Community engagement.
Yeah. Showcase our players, teach other people out there some of the things that we're good at, some of the things that we do well, and engage our fans better because we haven't done a great job of that. So we do welcome your comments. We're going to do a Facebook Live, I think once a week, a little Q&A for parents and for players. And if you have questions for that, shoot them our way because we're going to answer them. So I'm excited about a lot of this stuff. We now have time to do some of this because we're a little more freed up. We have a couple employees now. We are less. This is less of like the last 5% of stuff like that we have time for. This is more.
Well, I was going to say we were a two-man show all the way up until we're really within the last year. Before we went from like 0 employees.
Two-man show.
Yeah, we went from like a 0 employee business to, at times upwards of 5 or 6. So
yeah, so we're getting there.
Yeah. It's just allowed us to free up time. Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned, that one of my favorite parts about what we do is the sort of the life of an athlete when they start with us, train with us for several years, then they go off and like live their own lives in college and stuff, and oftentimes end up coming back or maintaining their relationships with us. And that's one of my favorite things about what we get to do. And I think we need to do a better job of kind of like sharing those stories because I think they're oftentimes pretty cool.
Yeah, already I've had Snapchat. So there's a Coach Dan Blewett Snapchat. There's a Warbird Academy Snapchat, and there's a Warbird Senators Snapchat. Only like the 4 or 5 days that I've had my own personal one, which is just like me and my business endeavors and stuff in Warbird, my teams, all that. I've already gotten like reconnected with a bunch of kids that we've trained. Just like, hey, I saw that. Like, post something about Oreos, and people were just talking to me about Oreos and my team. Like, just lots of little things. I think we've missed how a lot of our athletes communicate because already they're just like, oh yeah, I'm in a place where they can engage me. Whereas text message, even though tons of our parents and players and coaches text, it's not like a chat room. It's not like a group where you can just like get engaged with the conversation. But since I'm starting conversations with Snapchat stories and stuff like that about strength training, about baseball, about Oreos, about whatever, it just allows kids that we maybe have like lost a little bit of touch with to reconnect. So I think it's been cool.
Yeah, and I kind of to circle back. This is just how we've kind of operated as a business since our inception, which has been always be trying new things and then inevitably in the process of that learn how it works. And so This is just kind of like, we started the podcast, we started like all this social media presence and all this kind of thing, and we're just kind of learning from that first kind of round of experimentation and now kind of taking it to the next level, which will be cool, I think.
Yeah, because last year we had I put a lot of effort into our Instagram strategy, and even then I don't feel like I fully understood what I was doing and how to do it right. I could have done a lot of things better. But we posted regularly on Instagram last year, the Warburg Senators, and we got recognized at a tournament. A kid came up to us. He's like, "You guys are the Warburg Senators, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool." I'm like, "Weird. We're a bunch of, like snot-nosed 16-year-olds, but okay, like that's cool." And I think there's just value in that. Like you can get to know another team in another part of the country. Like there's some great coaches out there. There's some great organizations, and depending on what they do, like I've been Snapchatting with my team in our dugout, and I know it seems very faux pas, and a lot of coaches will be like, "Oh, like keep your," but you know what? Like we have downtime in the dugout. Like we have, players will have conversations about Fortnite, about this, about that. They'll have a 3-minute conversation, a 90-second conversation. They'll be off topic. Like there's so much downtime in baseball, and there's all the camaraderie. I'm just taking some of those little micro conversations and just recording some of them. So it's just like a fun little thing, and doing like little short interviews with players and just kind of BSing. And why can't we just like let other people in our dugout a little bit and show what we do and what goes on, and the parents get a little behind the scenes, and it just like seems like if it's gonna be fun, there's no reason not to do it.
It seems like a pretty harmless way to engage.
Yeah, I'm getting Snapchat spectacles, which are Snapchat. They're super ugly sunglasses. If they were just for sale as regular sunglasses, they'd be like $4 in like a Casey's gas station. But I just push a button and they record like 10 seconds of video or something. So I'm gonna have those in the dugout in here, which would be cool. I'm not gonna let the players take those on the field because they already asked me to. They haven't arrived yet, but I'm not gonna let them distract themselves on the ball.
That would not be good.
Diamond, but
watch me field this ground ball.
Yeah. Oh, I booted that one, man. But so this is our podcast. This is season 2.
Season 2
of Twinsies, and we're gonna do like little segments in addition to a full-length podcast. So a lot of times we'll probably chop out a section. So we talk about something that we thought was really good and standalone. Probably chop it out, have its own little segment. Because, again, some people like shorter things, like 5, 7, 10 minutes. Some people like the long-form 45, 50-minute podcast, and that's great. We just want to kind of give people whatever they want, and it's honestly not that much more work to us to just take a podcast and kind of segment
Plus,
it.
there's just been so many times where I've been hamstrung by the audio-only format of a podcast where all my visual humor just goes right out the window.
Exactly.
No longer.
They couldn't see my carrot juice until today.
So part of this, I think, that will be beneficial is there'll be times when we're talking about stuff, baseball, softball stuff, and we want to demonstrate stuff or illustrate stuff, which I did in the first time that we attempted to do this and failed.
Yeah.
That
was very sad.
Last week we sat down to do this and that was what, an hour long probably?
Oh, more than an hour, yeah.
So we got through an hour of just groundbreaking content, and Dan's computer shut down because of the file size was enormous, and it all just blew away in the wind. We were very sad. So this is actually technically round 2, take number 2 of us explaining and going into.
It was like a Titanic kind of moment. Like there were some warnings. I was like, I looked at my computer and a big like warning screen popped up. I'm like, I bet that's because I'm getting low on storage. And I was like, we only got like a couple minutes left. Lucas was on like a long rant, and I was like, yeah, we'll make it. And then the computer just like reboots. I'm like, oh no, and that was that. Because I have a MacBook Pro. It's new. It's only got 250 gigabytes of storage. So I'm like, you know what? Cloud storage is the future. I don't feel like I need to spend another $500 on a huge like terabyte hard drive. Like I'm not gonna be storing stuff on my computer. It'll be like in the cloud. Which has largely been true, but I've done so much video stuff, and this one application I have called ScreenFlow, it like stores and records as like huge files. So if you had like a 10 gigabyte normal video, which would be like a half an hour, if I did it on ScreenFlow, it'd be like 50 gigabytes. So when I'm recording those, they eventually export way smaller, but I'm sure no one cares about this explanation. But
I was just thinking about that.
It just like overloaded all the hard drive I had left, and that was where last week's episode went. So it's in the ether.
Yeah, it was a sacrifice to the internet gods.
The spiders that are watching us now in Warburg Academy, they enjoyed it, didn't you guys?
I wish we could count. Can we count spiders in our analytics for who tunes into our podcast?
I wish there was like a thing, like like that toothbrush stuff where you give it to little kids and it'll like stick to their plaque, and so it's like red in their teeth, so they know they didn't brush very well. We should do something like that where we could spray.
I don't think we want to know.
Makes all the spiders the color.
I was talking to someone about this the other day. I was like, imagine you like if there was you could put an LED on the back of every spider in here, and then at night turn off the lights. It'd be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. Well, did you hear that stat that I shared with the group last year? That spiders eat every day. What is it? A tenth of their weight.
Oh yeah,
And there's 10 times more spiders in biomass than there are humans. So if you add up the total weight of all the 7 billion humans, there's 10 times that amount of weight in spiders. So they could all technically eat all of us if they wanted to.
Yeah,
it would take 2,000 pounds of spiders to eat 200-pound me, but there's enough.
It's only a matter of time before they evolve to a point of
horrifying
self-consciousness.
And they're gonna realize, hey, we should capitalize on this.
I was also just thinking on what I want to do on the video component of this as we move forward is I'm going to have a pad of paper and I'm going to write secret messages to the video audience that the podcast people won't get. Yeah. I'm going to wear funny hats.
Yeah, hats.
Say coupons?
We do coupons. I don't know what we would sell coupons, but
bananas.
Get 50 cents off some graham crackers. I don't know. But they can see my carrot juice, so it's already a victory.
I mean, the value is going through.
I don't know what the common population thinks of carrot juice, but it tastes like carrots, and it has like a very kind of like calming presence to it. It's like a very smooth flavor.
This episode brought to you by Carrot.
Yeah, I want to be sponsored. I don't think there's anyone else drinking carrot juice on a podcast or video.
No, man, that's your niche.
But I feel like Bold House Farms needs to sponsor me.
Yeah. What weird fluid am I gonna drink?
Yeah. What color is Dan gonna drink today? So other things. Weekend roundup. 13 and 14 U Senators are playing.
Oh yeah.
We went 7-1 as an organization this weekend. My team dismantled a team on Thursday. It was a very impressive shelling of another local team. Won 18-7, and we just barreled so many balls up. It was like silly. And then Saturday we had a triple header and we swept it. Went 3-0, including a debacle where my closer came in the fifth inning. We played 6-inning games because it was a triple header, and he got a ground out, walked a guy, strikeout, and I think another walk or something, and then another strikeout. They said after we rolled the ball out after the third out of the inning, the runners like ran home, and the coaches were like, "Go, go, go!" And they thought we had only recorded 2 outs, which we recorded 3. But then their coaches decided to bicker with us over the scoreboard because both of our scorekeepers somehow had a discrepancy, which scorekeeping is a very tedious task. I don't blame either of them for not having it perfect. Like, who cares? But the fact that the opposing team was buried in their iPad saying, "No, you guys are wrong. There's only 2 outs," when my player who pitched it was like, "No, I got a ground out and 2 strikeouts." It was just baffling that they told him that he basically misremembered the inning. And it was an excruciating display of just moronicness. That's the word.
I forgot to ask you the first time you relayed the story to me. Where were the umpires in all of this? Did they not?
They were there. They just didn't know either. One umpire had 2 outs. The other one had 3, I think, and it still just didn't make any sense. We went back out to the field. They put the runners back on, and then we just punched out the next guy. Not literally, strikeout. Punch out.
Yeah.
And then we angrily put up 3 runs in the last inning and ended the game with a 6-3 win. So big screw you to that situation. So, it was good. It lit a fire under my team. They came together with that, and so be it. It was still just a very baffling and stupid situation.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that the conflict, the argument is fine, but it was weird how you relayed to me that people started shouting. Like, that's not a situation that calls for shouting.
Like raising their voices at us, and
it's like, okay,
it's like, look, dude. And the fact that we're digging through the iPad, which clearly has errors in it, for the answer rather than asking the human beings that were involved, it was strange. Yeah. Like, I've never, as a pitcher, forgotten the outs that I recorded.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened. But your team went 3-1.
Yep. So we played a double header on Saturday. Won both those games by a tally of 19-1 and 7-3, and then won our first round of bracket play we actually got a bye. Then we played a team and won 10-0, and then championship lost 11-6.
I think, yeah.
And really, the story of the weekend was, and I sound like a broken record because I say the same thing to the guys all the time, but really, there's such a high correlation with, especially my team, but all of baseball, between the quality of your defense and if you win games. Like, if we make plays, the plays that we're supposed to make, we will win. If we don't, we will lose. Like, the only runs we gave up this weekend were on errors.
Yeah.
So the three, I can't remember, 7-4. I think it was 7-4. The 4 runs we gave up in that game, the 3 runs came in the first 2 innings on errors, and then there was like 1 legitimate run scored. And then almost all the runs in that championship game were runners got on base through errors, and then that's how it works, right? You get an error or 2, and then all of a sudden maybe a walk and maybe a double, and it's like, oh, there are 3 runs.
Yep.
So we did a good job of battling. The other team threw their best pitcher, who threw very well, and it was just kind of a matter of we just had to wear the at-bats and try to like get him through his pitch count, because when we got to their bullpen, we started scoring runs again, but it was just a little too late. But overall, I think we played extremely well, and there were really only, I would say, of all the innings we played, maybe 3 or 4 innings that were but outside of that,
Yeah.
pretty good showing. So we have another tournament in Champaign this coming weekend.
Yep. We're in Jacksonville, Illinois this weekend, and yeah, we made all the plays pretty much. There were very few errors. We played very clean baseball in our 4 games, but a lot of pass balls, a lot of stuff going to the screens, and which is very frustrating. A lot of stolen bases, which is part of the youth game, I guess, which is irritating to me. But not a lot of like purely batted in runs. A lot of just like walks. We walked too many hitters for sure, and walk them, steal second, pass ball to third, they score.
Yep.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. We had so many plays this weekend where there were a couple games where we gave up a lot of stolen bases, and there were just so many like bang plays at second base that were legitimately the runners were safe, but we were just missing outs by like a fraction of a second. And it was very, very consistent in that regard. And it's just like, man, that's a big difference when you can cut down. That's just such a big swing to not get that out and have a runner advance when it sways the other way to go. Instead, you wipe that runner off the base and it's an out. Like, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, outs are still the biggest currency in baseball, and we made a lot of outs on the base paths as well. My team was really aggressive. We got tons of extra bases, but at the same time, foolish out at third base with 2 outs, foolish out, getting picked off, or just like being overly aggressive. Aggressiveness is great, but you got to just trying to reel them in and make sure they know.
It continues to be a theme that, and in the heat of the game, I understand, it's hard to think through these things, but people really overestimate the value of like the second to third, like when that's appropriate versus when it's not.
Yeah.
We didn't really make too many base running mistakes this weekend, but there's still like some guys with some big old turns. You're like, whoa, or like, on third base, just understanding. The way that you run when you're a base runner on third base versus how you run on first and second is just vastly different. But
yeah, and triples obviously are much more common in the amateur game, but I don't know. Everyone wants a triple when they hit in the gap.
Yeah.
Which is fine, except if you have a lot of good hitters behind you, and it's 2 outs, maybe like it's not that valuable getting to third base. Getting to third with 1 out's valuable, but
I had that exact conversation with someone in the dugout this weekend where one of our better hitters just laces this ball to right center, and is like flying around second base and just like slams on the brakes when the ball hadn't even gotten to the cutoff yet, and everybody was in the crowd was like, oh, and I was like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, he's sitting on second base with no outs. Like, we're okay. And it was just kind of understanding that what's the difference between him being on second and him being on third. And one of the kids sitting next to me was like, why didn't he take third on that? And I was like, he didn't need to take third on that. So.
Yeah, there seems like it's a very big premium on just getting as many bases as you can rather than being strategic about trying to then score as many runs as you can in an inning, which that's the only thing that matters. You don't get, in the box score you get a triple, but doesn't necessarily add more value to your team if there's 2 outs.
What does more running? It'll make you tired.
Yeah,
I hated running triples.
Just hitting the gap and pull up.
Stand-up doubles are my favorite thing.
Especially with fast kids. I have a bunch of really fast kids on my team. And great. Get them first, steal second. Great with 1 out, steal third. But you don't need to steal third with 2 outs because a single, you're 100% going to score on almost anything because you're so darn fast. And it was sad. After Hunter our closer went through that debacle, struck out that last kid, and that get the 4th out. He ended up coming up, and he was with 2 outs. He was up, and I was like, "This is amazing." Because he's a strong kid. He's just gonna. I was just like visualizing him in my head. He's gonna put a big exclamation point on this whole situation by just like tanking one. And our runner on second got too excited, tried to steal third, got thrown out, took the bat out of his hands. I was super disappointed. I told him, you can flip, if you hit one out right now, you can flip your bat over the backstop. Do whatever you need to do, and I'll be fine with it. But, things happen. So,
Yeah, you have some exciting hitters on your team.
yeah, I thought Hunter was going to do it, but here we are.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the first of many. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more
Updates from us.
More, what are they called? Vodcasts? Vidcasts?
Well, there's vlogs.
Okay,
vlogs,
so more.
but this is not really a video log.
So a potentially more consistent Twinsies podcast release schedule.
Video podcast.
Video
yes.
podcasting. Facebook live streams. Live Q&As.
Yep. Snapchat, Warbird Senators.
Snurp Church.
Warbird_Academy and Coach Dan Blewett. There'll be behind-the-scenes stuff on our Snapchat, so peeks into like Lucas's workout, his weird shakes.
My weird
made
shakes.
Of, like spinach and boogers and whatever he puts in there.
I can Snapchat. We'll talk a lot about boogers.
Hopefully not. It makes me gaggy.
Yeah, I can snap my workouts. It'll be great. A lot of fun stuff to come.
Yep. Shots from the dugout. A little behind the scenes. So yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. The Warbird Academy experience is evolving. And
wow, the Warbird Academy experience.
We're excited to have you along with us, video and audio land.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys soon.